After her marriage, although I make it very clear, I don't think the cause of her drug problem was Bobby Brown. I think it was a codependent, unhealthy relationship where together they were not healthy for each other. And yes, you know, after a while it became inescapable. And I write how I met with her personally when Bobby was in jail, thinking, but I had gotten a signal that if she went into rehab, he would. But she was not ready for it at that first personal meeting. Those around her, usually family or paid employees, and she would never listen. My relationship with her wasn't that she was signed in my administration. I was there at the front with her, coming up with all these songs with my A&R staff, meeting with her till 2 in the morning at the Beverly Hills Hotel or in my office. And I did speak with her personally and urge her, whatever you're doing, if it's drugs, it's going to beat you, citing all the history of others that had succumbed. And she claimed at that meeting that whatever problem she has, it's not as serious as I said, and she had everything under control. It was not until I saw her at Madison Square Garden in the year 2001, which was post Bodyguard, Waiting to Exhale, Shoop Shoop song, Preacher's Wife, Step by Step, I Believe in You and Me, and it all gone incredibly. And she was a skeleton, or skeletal at that concert. I gasped. I had not seen her for maybe a year. She had gone into semi-seclusion in Atlanta. And the book includes a letter that I wrote from the heart to her, urging that she have the same faith in me that she had with songs, with her career, and where we had gone to, where I always, when I passed her, kept saying, are you pinching yourself? This is such an extraordinary, unprecedented success. And so I do go in all of that. And I did believe, when I saw Oprah, as the rest of you did, that she, by that time, had given up drugs, that she had sunk to a level that she had gone into her version of rehab and had become clean. And so that when I was dealing with her post-Oprah interview and dealing with the I Look to You album, the only problem that she and I addressed all the time, thinking that drugs were behind her, she was no longer married, was cigarette smoking, heavy cigarette smoking, and addiction that she admitted she had. And the most progress that I made with that was getting her to reduce the amount of cigarette smoking, but never to cut it out. So it did affect her higher register, to the point where, and I've seen some erroneous tidbits on websites saying that I was always against her touring. I never participated in the tour. There was no economic interest in a record company, certainly never anything from me or the record company, until she got her voice back. So I took a very strong position after I Looked to You that I could not record her until she cut out cigarette smoking. I had always at my dinners with Aretha, who was always so fond of Whitney, saying, I smoke cigarettes heavy, but once they removed the nicotine, I got my full voice back. And of course, Aretha's voice today is as glorious as ever. And it was a few days before her funeral, it was a few days before she passed away, when I was in LA for my Grammy party, which is an annual affair that she loved, came as a civilian. She was not performing or scheduled to perform, but she loved that evening where you never know who's going to get up on the stage. If Alicia's dream is to perform with Aretha, I put the two of them together early in Alicia's career, or Lou Reed with Rod Stewart, and everybody tries the hottest ticket each year. And she was there, and she came to my bungalow, and she played me the songs, the two songs that she was doing for Sparkle. I've been working on a Jennifer Hudson album, and I'm playing her the material for Jennifer's album, and she was great. And she looked me in the eye like I am looking you, Anthony, and she said, I am ready to give up cigarettes. Not cut back, but cut out. I'm going to do it right now. I'll be ready in August to record. So my point is, that I do believe that she had no clue that she was flirting with death. I certainly had no clue that she was flirting with death. And I thought she was on her way to restore her voice for recording and in general. So yes, I got this call 3 hours before the party was to start. And it was shattering. It was devastating. It was stunning. Only with my kids and my closest friends around me did I withstand the initial shock. But what's not been written are the artists that were poised to perform that night. This night, it's as strong as a Grammy Award show. In fact, this year, Les Moonves, when he introduced me, said, the Grammys are my after party. And but that night, the Kings, represented by Ray Davies, was going to perform, had come in from London to be joined by Elvis Costello and Jackson Brown, Jamie Foxx, Alicia Keys, Diana Ross, Tony Bennett, Diana Krall. I can go on and on of artists who had rehearsed, who was there. And it was like I co-sponsor this with, co-host this with Naris. You don't postpone that. You don't postpone the Grammys. You turn it into a tribute to celebrate the life of someone so special. So of course you're mournful, but at a time where sometimes, never in New York, but in LA at midnight it's late. Here it's not so late in New York. And so people, no one left. And except for two artists who were very close and who were there but didn't perform, perfectly appropriate. But you celebrate the life with a prior consultation with representatives of the family, and talking, someone who was brilliant during that whole period and supportive, and was Puffy Combs. I call him Puffy, that's how I met him. You know, what can you do? They call him my other names. To me, he's Puffy. So you celebrate a life and her talent. And that's what we did that evening. There might have been a few. If you didn't want to come, you don't come. The room was packed, and was packed till the evening was over. So forget the fact that people, if they were that mournful, then you don't have to show up. But everybody in that room stayed. And we all, and each all, poured their hearts and their talent into, obviously, a minute of silence and an evening celebrating someone who, putting Aretha Franklin to a side, everybody in our industry, writer, producer, songwriter, artist, Whitney Houston was the best singer in the world, without question, and influenced so many to come after her. So that's the background, and obviously the details are in the book and the autobiography that has just come out, that I'm proud to say is entering the charts Sunday at #2. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely.